MMA is brutal. One loss can end a career. An injury can erase years of hard work. But every now and then, someone comes back. Stronger, tougher, hungrier. These are the fighters who refused to fade away, who fell, got up, and shocked the world. This is every UFC fighter with a legendary comeback. Explained. Georges St-Pierre, from humiliation to redemption in 2007. GSP was knocked out by Matt Serra in one of the biggest upsets ever. He could have crumbled. Instead, he came back stronger. He avenged the loss, reclaimed his title, and went on a dominant run, defending his belt 9 times. And after 4 years away, he returned in 2017 to win the middleweight title. From humble to hero twice. Dominic Cruz, 1,000 plus days off, still a champion. Dominic Cruz battled knee injuries, a groin tear, and years of rehab. People thought he was done. Then in 2016, after more than 1,000 days out, he returned to beat TJ Dillashaw and reclaim the bantamweight title. It was surgical. It was emotional. It was vintage Cruz. Miesha Tate back from retirement in 2016. Miesha Tate retired after a tough loss to Raquel Pennington. She became a commentator executive, seemingly done with fighting. But in 2021, 5 years later, she returned and beat Marion Renault. Not many come back after that long and win. Robbie Lawler, from journeyman to champ. Robbie Lawler was cut from the UFC, bounced around promotions, and seemed like a mid-tier name. Then he came back in 2013, reinvented, hungry. He went on a tear, won Fight of the Year twice, and became welterweight champ after a war with Johnny Hendricks. Pure violence. Pure heart. Brian Ortega returned after Max Holloway beatdown in 2018. Brian Ortega took a savage beating from Max Holloway. Absorbed over 300 strikes, he took nearly 2 years off. Then returned against Chan Sung Jung in 2020, and looked completely transformed. Sharper, smarter, dominant. It was the comeback of a new man. Charles Oliveira, from gatekeeper to champion. Charles Oliveira spent years as a UFC veteran. Talented, but inconsistent. Injuries, weight misses, and losses haunted him. But in 2020, he went on a run. 8 straight wins. Then he knocked out Michael Chandler to win the lightweight title. He didn't just come back. He became elite. Randy Couture, heavyweight champion at 43. Randy Couture retired in 2006 after losing to Chuck Liddell. He was 43. Done. Right? Wrong. He came back a year later, moved up to heavyweight, and beat Tim Sylvia to win the belt again. Old man strength is real. Brock Lesnar, short-lived, but shocking after getting destroyed by Alistair Overeem and dealing with diverticulitis. Brock Lesnar retired in 2011. Then, in 2016, he returned to fight Mark Hunt at UFC 200. Despite years away, he won a decision. It was later ruled a no contest due to a drug test, but the moment was wild. Anthony Pettis, from falling star to PFL winner, Anthony Pettis went from being the Wheaties cover star to a string of tough losses. People wrote him off. But in his late career, he reinvented himself, moved up, moved down, pulled off wins over Stephen Thompson and Donald Cerrone. A flash of the old Showtime was back. Rose Namajunas, Thug Rose returns. After losing her belt to Jessica Andrade via brutal slam, Rose Namajunas took time off. She returned over a year later, avenged the loss in a 3-round war, then beat Zhang Weili with a head kick to reclaim the title. Mental toughness. Beauty and brutality. Andrei Arlovski, the ageless wonder cut from the UFC, knocked out cold multiple times. Andrei Arlovski looked done in the early 2010s. But he came back. And he kept winning. He's still competing and winning well into his 40s. A true survivor of the fight game. Glover Teixeira, too old? Think again. After multiple failed title attempts and brutal losses, Glover Teixeira was considered past his prime. But at 42, he submitted Jan Blachowicz to become light heavyweight champ. Emotional. Surreal. Legendary. TJ Dillashaw returned after suspension. T.J. Dillashaw was suspended for 2 years due to EPO use. Many thought he'd never come back the same. In 2021, he returned to beat Corey Sandhagen in a 5-round war. Love him or hate him, it was a legit comeback. MMA is about moments. Comebacks make them legendary. From GSP to Rose, Glover to Cruz, these fighters didn't just return. They made history. This was every UFC fighter with a legendary comeback explained. Who had your favorite return? Let us know in the comments.